Welcome to another episode of ThinkBox Radio, a podcast inspired by Sears ThinkBox, the innovation center at Case Western Reserve University. Our goal is to share some of the magic that happens at the Case School of Engineering and to inspire your own innovations and startups. ThinkBox Radio is produced by Abby Murphy and is sponsored by the Case Alumni Association. Now, let's meet our host, Robert Smith, the former economic development reporter for the Cleveland Plain Dealer.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of ThinkBox Radio, the podcast from the Case Alumni Association. We're here today with a startup on the 7th floor of ThinkBox called Lighthanded. And I want you to meet Steve Burns and his colleague, Brecken Blackburn. Welcome to the show, you guys.
Thanks for having us.
So we're kind of excited to be here. There's a couple unusual features of this startup. One is that, as you can see, these are not students. These are alumni. These are scientists. These are professionals.
Are you calling us old?
Much younger than me. Using ThinkBox to launch a company. They've attracted some National Science Foundation funding. And they're in a board game group together, which only goes to prove that smart people, when they hang out together, often come up with great ideas. So Steve, you're a biomedical engineer, a former product marketing engineer for Keithley Products, and the CEO of Lighthanded. Brecken, PhD, a biomedical engineer, a postdoctoral researcher at the Case School of Engineering, and the Chief Science Officer here. Okay, great. Well, let's start with your product, which sounds very interesting to me. First of all, I should say you're a team that specializes in optical devices, what they call applied photonics. And what you've done, I think, is you've invented a better otoscope, which a doc uses to check our ears. So could you tell us, what is an otoscope and why do you think yours is better?
Yeah, so an otoscope is a tool, like you said, that a doctor uses to look inside of the ear canal and look at the tympanic membrane or your eardrum. The problem that we're solving with our otoscope is the diagnosis of a condition called otitis media with effusion. And that's a big phrase that basically means there's fluid stuck behind your eardrum, so inside your middle ear. And this happens a lot, especially to kids. They get fluid caught in their middle ear, and it causes conductive hearing loss that can be really developmentally damaging. But the problem is that pediatricians have a lot of trouble diagnosing this, especially with a normal otoscope, because you're looking for fluid behind a kind of translucent membrane in a kid that's probably squirming around a bunch. And so what our otoscope does is that it acts like a normal otoscope, but it has a second setting on it, so you can hit a button. So normally it's just white light. You hit a button and there's a very low power laser. And this low powered laser makes it really obvious to the doctor if there is fluid behind the eardrum or not. If there's no fluid, if it's just air and the kid's healthy, you don't really see the laser light very much. But if there's fluid stuck in there, the laser light scatters around like crazy, and it just makes the difference really, really obvious to the doctor if the kid has conductive hearing loss.
That sounds handy. Have you shown this to doctors?
Yeah.
What do they say when you tell them you can do this?
They're excited, especially younger pediatricians who see a lot of patients who haven't yet built up the decades of experience required to be very accurate with the normal white light otoscope, are really excited to have a tool that would let them be a lot more confident and accurate in detecting which kids might have potential problems.
Okay, every kid gets ear infections, and we know because they're screaming. We think they have an ear infection. We take them to the doctor. They put the scope in their ear. I'm guessing this is something we all could have used. Steve, is this something you could have used as a kid?
Oh, yeah, me as well as 90% of kids get this condition at some point in time. And really the problem here is that it's very challenging to diagnose because sometimes there's not even symptoms that a patient, at least, or the kid can verbalize are there. So what really happens is the kid can't hear their parents, they can't hear their peers, but they don't have any other symptoms. It's not painful, they're not rubbing their ear, so it makes it very challenging to diagnose, especially in young children.
Yeah, so these kids have long-term hearing loss that can be pretty significant, and it could go for years undetected.
How many kids does this happen to that severely?
It's a little bit hard to know because our diagnosis methods aren't that good, but somewhere around 8% of kids get this condition chronically in a way that can really affect their development.
Okay.
And 90% of kids get it at some point, but then it resolves itself in 90% of those. It's just those remaining 8%, just it doesn't resolve, and then...
Yeah, it's cause for concern at that point.
Okay, so this is info a doctor wants to have, a parent wants to have. Is there liquid in my child's ear? And how accurate is this?
A pilot trial found that a doctor could be 89% accurate using the laser otoscope instead of around 50% accurate, which is where most pediatricians are with just a white light otoscope.
All right. And obviously you have a prototype. Are any folks excited about this? Have you attracted any funding?
So we've attracted funding from the UCSF PDC, the Pediatric Device Consortium. It's a FDA-funded program that helps develop early-stage pediatric medical devices.
Okay.
We've also attracted some funding from the state of Ohio, and have been attracting some in-kind help from local organizations like Magnet.
Is that right?
Like the Entrepreneur Center in Dayton.
We're starting to work with the CIA.
Starting to work with, the Cleveland Institute of Art.
Cleveland Institute of Art CIA, to be clear.
The other CIA would be interesting, but...
What is Cleveland Institute of Art doing for you or with you?
We're working with them to do some industrial design work.
Nice. Yeah, they have that expertise.
For sure.
Okay, well, that kind of gets to my next point. I mean, obviously, you're using resources here on campus, and we don't often see alumni here at the top of Sears Think Box. It's a student makerspace, but of course, alumni are welcome here. The community is welcome here, and so I think you guys have some news to share. How has ThinkBox helped you develop your product and start a company? What resources are you finding useful here?
Yeah, I think to start with, just the incubator space itself has been really, really wonderful to be able to have a small location where we can have a physical presence right on campus. And also, I mean, it goes without saying, but all of the prototyping facilities that are freely available on the lower floors of ThinkBox are really helpful.
Like, what are the prototyping facilities?
3D printers, all sorts of different types of 3D printers, some light electrical prototyping equipment.
And you've been using that?
Yeah.
Is that free to you?
Yeah.
To anyone who's here?
Yep.
Okay.
I think to the public as well, but especially alumni.
Yeah. Okay, good. How about your small headquarters upstairs? Is that free as well, or did you pay a rent on that?
We pay rent.
Yeah. It's not a high rent necessarily, but it's there.
Modest, yeah.
Okay. It's a modest space for a modest rent.
Yeah, and you mentioned working with the Cleveland Institute of Art. Are there other advantages to being on campus, starting a company?
Just networking through all of the various channels here has been very helpful. Because there's a number of people that are well connected in the entrepreneurial space, and then we've also connected with various professors and people like that on campus.
Okay, great. So let's step back and talk about how you guys got started on your entrepreneurial journey. Tell me how you both met.
We met through a mutual friend and our third business partner, who's not with us here right now, but Matt McPheeters is our third business partner. He and I did our PhDs together, and he and Steve are friends from undergrad.
Yeah. Matt McPheeters, he's also an alumni, and he's a physicist.
Yeah,
correct. He's
biomedical engineer.
Okay, good. And you and Matt were in the board game group together.
Oh, all three of us.
All three of you.
Yeah.
All right, tell us about the board game group. It sounds like fun.
That's what you do on Thursday nights.
Exactly. We play through a pile of different board games, or sometimes just kind of forget to play games and just talk for the night, and it works out.
Yeah. What games do you play?
Trying to think of what's been recent. I think we played Carcassonne recently.
Yeah.
What game is that?
Carcassonne.
That's a hot one now. Do you guys do Ticket to Ride?
I can
get my teenagers to sit still for that. Okay, so you knew Matt as in undergrad.
Correct.
And you met Brecken at the board game group?
Yeah,
pretty
more
much.
or less.
Okay, listen, I'm talking smart people playing together. I mean, so how did a startup come out of that?
We've been talking for a while, and about potential opportunities and potential things that might make some sense to pursue, and then projects like this one started popping out as ones that have both a good impact on society and a good potential business case behind them.
Okay, you knew there was a problem, and I'm guessing, Brecken, you knew there was some science that could solve it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Of course. I mean, just going through a PhD program in biomedical optics, you learn about lots of different problems that still need to be solved.
Okay. And how did you come to? Are you incorporated now, or have you launched a company?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. When was that official?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah,
I'd have to
get
go
some
back and look.
paperwork out.
Yeah.
But in the last probably 9 months, we've seen the most activity. I mean, we've started, we obviously have some prototypes finished here. We've been bringing in more outside funding. And so, that's really when the meat of things has happened.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've been moving things forward on the design front, working with local organizations around Cleveland, and have been starting to work with doctors to make sure that what we're developing is actually what they need.
Yeah.
Oh, so you get some expert advice.
Oh yeah, of course, you've got to.
Where is the company in its evolution? How close are we seeing this in a doctor's office?
I think that's a question that is somewhat dependent on funding.
Is that right?
So on that note, we're looking for funding. So if anyone in this audience is
still raising funds?
We are.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But if the stars aligned, we could be on the market by Q4 this year.
By this year?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
It's a Class 1 medical device, so
Okay.
we can avoid some
The
regulatory
burden
hurdles.
isn't too bad.
Yeah, we still have to do some regulatory hurdles, but it's not as bad as.
So, Brecken, you're in the research world. Steve, you were in the corporate world. And how did you come to quit your job and become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I had a series of product management type jobs, which was really more of the, let's say, internal entrepreneur within the company.
Okay.
So bringing new products to market, dealing with old products, and everything in between. So I had really wanted to go off to start something myself for a while, and then things came around. Some of these good ideas here, and decided it was time to jump ship and get into the entrepreneurial space.
How have you guys liked entrepreneurship so far?
It's fun. There's always something to do.
Yeah.
And you get to do lots of different types of things. So yeah, it stays interesting.
I'm guessing you're about a year into this now?
On this project, we've been.
What would you tell someone who's, maybe a mid-career professional or a researcher and was thinking of launching their own startup? What would you tell them they might find at ThinkBox? Why should they come here?
There's a whole awful lot of resources here. So there's the ones that are published on ThinkBox's website. So all of the prototyping tools and all of those types of things that will enable those people to make their prototypes and make their devices, or do whatever else that they might happen to be doing. But also the ecosystem around ThinkBox is really good. In terms of just getting connections to the right people and getting advice about how to deal with various issues that come up, because there's always issues in a startup.
Yeah.
Has to be. How about, what's it like being in a student maker space? Even though you're up here at the top, you are in a college campus. I assume you're the adults in the room usually. Is that kind of fun?
I mean, honestly, we've been kind of running at different hours than most of.
Yeah, the 7th floor is actually mostly professional students, or I think there's some undergrads, but everyone is interested in being an entrepreneur, and
Yeah,
it's been just fine.
You're right. We're on the 7th floor. They're all startups up here. In fact, we've done a couple down the hallway here. The music makers and cleaner, the folks with the washing machine filter.
Yeah.
This looks like a great beehive of activity up here. Mm-hmm. You have another product that might be a podcast down the road in the dental space. Mm-hmm. Do you want to tell us about that? I think it sounds pretty fascinating.
Yeah, we're really excited that we just got a National Science Foundation Phase 2 Small Business Innovation Award. So we're just getting started on this project, but it's going to help a dentist detect a cavity when it's still possible to reverse it and kind of have the enamel heal itself instead of having to drill the cavity out and then fill it.
Wow, so this will see a cavity before it forms.
Before you can't do anything about it, basically.
And is that also a medical device?
Yeah. And okay. I think we'll talk more on our next podcast.
Yeah. How far away is that? Are we talking some research?
Yeah. That's a longer term research and development product. Which is why the National Science Foundation is helping us fund it.
All right, good. You still got a lot of work to do. Thanks for sharing with us today what you've got done already, and good luck to you. It sounds like a great product.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for today, everybody. That's another edition of ThinkBox Radio from Case Western Reserve University, where our motto is, Think Beyond the Possible.
And that concludes another episode of ThinkBox Radio, stories inspired by America's leading college innovation center. Thanks for listening. You can find past episodes on our website, casealumni.org. Goodbye from Case Western Reserve University, where our motto is, Think Beyond the Possible.